Maybe you just need to go back to the ocean.
I'm starting a little reading vlog for y'all. I plan on filming 2 or 3 this break, so if you're into reading content, please, again, get excited. I'm creating content for you. Also, I just want to read, but like, I'm creating content for you. You know what I mean? So I thought I would talk quickly about the books that I plan on reading. I have selected 3 books that I plan on completing in this vlog. I don't know that I'm gonna get all of them done within like the next 4 days because I'm not just reading, I'm doing other stuff that's a bit of a priority as well, but like we'll try our best. Okay, so first book, I actually started on the plane here yesterday. This is The Art of Not Breathing by Sarah Alexander. And I think I got this at the beginning of the semester when I ordered from Book Outlet, just like a random book order that I was just in the mood for buying books. And then I never got to it because obviously my semester was chaotic. But we're finally reading it and I am not quite halfway through, but like I've read a decent amount. And the book kind of reminds me of the Burn for Burn series by Jenny Han and Vivian Siobhan. In terms of its aesthetic, the kind of somber, cool toned vibes of the book, like I totally get this in this story. Just to give the story a quick premise, it follows Elsie and her family who is falling apart, honestly. They're quite a mess. And it all kind of hinges on the fact that her twin brother died when they were 11 years old. We don't really know the full story. We kind of can infer that perhaps he drowned, maybe not. Like, I honestly don't really know, and I think that's part of the kind of mystery of this book. And Elsie is trying to figure out what happened that day that her brother died. She has recollections, like very incomplete kind of flashbacks, and she realizes that when she's in the water, these pieces seem to come to her. So she starts doing this like scuba, it's not scuba diving, but it's a type of diving sport that she's introduced to by this guy named Tay. His name is Tay, right? Yes. And she's not supposed to go near the water because her parents are like super against them being in the water ever since her brother died. But she's doing it secretly and she's putting together the pieces of what happened that day. I'm really interested to know the story. Like, that's the part of the story, like this book, that I'm committed to, not even really the romance. Like, it's there, it's there, but I'm trying to figure out what happened to her brother. So that's this book. I bought this during my reading week. I was looking for 3 other books, didn't find any of them, saw this and said I'll get this instead. So this is called Sometime in Summer, and again, like, it's Christmas, it's like winter, and I'm picking up these coastal warm weathered books, but I'm just really in the mood for like the ocean, the sea. I don't really remember too much about what this book is all about, so let me quickly. So I'm interested to see how this story unfolds, like what the conflict looks like, what the romance looks like. I'm also like really just looking for a good romance. I'm not gonna lie, I want to feel bliss. I want to feel butterflies. Interested to see this. This one's a little thicker, but I honestly think I'll be able to get through it pretty quickly, based on like the writing. And then if we make it, and I'm, continue to be super ambitious, I'm going to read The Sound of Drowning, which I actually started. Well, I shouldn't say I started. I read like the first chapter, but again, like I don't really remember. Oh, yeah, I read like 27 pages. All I really remember about this book is that the main character, whose name is Meredith Hall, is in a relationship with some other dude who she takes a ferry to see every night. And I don't really remember much about it. I know there's like some complex history there. I think they both competed in like some water sport. Again, this takes place obviously by the water, the ocean, I think. I don't remember the details at all. Like, I read 27 pages. I'm probably just gonna continue from page 27. I'll figure everything else out. Like, I'm not gonna start this all over again. But this is the 3rd book that I plan on reading. This is by Catherine Fleet. I think I forgot to mention this book is by Katrina Leno. All right, guys, let's get to it. One thing I seem to not be the greatest at is reading and interjecting to update you guys about my thoughts. And quite frankly, a lot of those thoughts have escaped me since I finished this like a day and a half or 2 days ago. I don't even remember anymore. But I will do my best to run it back and take you through my thought process, even though I can't remember everything that I felt about this book. And I still don't really know how I feel about it, to be honest. I think the synopsis that I gave at the beginning is pretty decent. Like, this is a family drama, and then there's like a bit of a romance plot line. I would say that that's not really the core of the book. Like, it's there, and I think it's just meant to be there, but it's not meant to be priority. The mystery surrounding Eddie and his death, as well as the family at the center of the story, is really what we're supposed to be focused on. And like I said, this family is falling apart. The father is very detached, and he seems to be dealing with his own thing, which we're not really, you know, given a lot of insight into until the end of the book. The mom is also like, she has her head in a bottle. Like, it's honestly just, the parents are not really there. Like, they're physically present to some extent, but like not mentally present. Part of it definitely has to do with the loss of their, you know, their son. And then another part of it has to do with things that they're dealing with in their own relationship. And while the parents are trying to figure things out, or not figure things out, I would argue, the kids are honestly going through it. Elsie is not just dealing with the loss of her brother, but she's also being bullied severely at school. And I want to say, for this book, there is so many trigger warnings, like so many trigger warnings, that I would just like to throw out there. I think in terms of the book as a whole, I didn't love it. I didn't dislike it. It was just kind of there. I really wanted to know about what happened to her brother. I was really interested in the different characters and like the roles that they played in that day, because everyone seems to somehow have an involvement in the day that Eddie died. And I was like, okay, what's going on? Like, I just wasn't sure if I trusted anybody. And I think that was part of the mystery. I felt like someone was always hiding something. And I was right, people were hiding things, but it's not what I expected. Overall, like, this was just okay. Like, I don't really know how I feel about the story itself. I gave it 3 stars because I was kind of just unsure, and I feel like 3 stars is like, to some extent, an unsure rating. Now for my second book, which I've actually started. I'm not that far in, but that is Sometime in Summer by Katrina Leno, and I already love this book. The main character's parents got a divorce, like they split up, and they're still like really good friends. Like, they have a really great relationship. So that's not really the reason why they're moving. It's just that the main character, Anna's mom, is selling her bookstore, and they're taking a bit of a hiatus or a break, and they're going out to the East Coast for 2 months. So that's kind of what I've gotten so far. Now, what I really love about this book is that her parents are, first of all, very cool people. Her dad is like a musician, tattoo artist, and her mom is like a book lover. And it's just the way that she talks about her mom's love for books that I think I really appreciate. There are some lines in here that are just so beautiful. I think this one line that I read yesterday: and my mother loved me in the fierce, powerful way of mothers everywhere, since the dawn of time. But I also knew without a single doubt that was the one thing she would change about me. She would wiggle her nose, and I'd suddenly be Matilda, carrying around stacks of books, eating words like honey, letting them drip down my chin. There's something about that, like eating words like honey, letting it drip down my chin. I don't know why, but that line really speaks to me. Like, that is so good. But anyways, I'm gonna get some more reading done with this today, so I will try my best and update you about that process, but no promises, because obviously I seem to finish books and then want to talk about them.
I'm missing people I've never met. There's things in this town I'd rather forget.
Sometime in Summer. I, again, like, have not really made headway at all. I feel like I was reading a lot yesterday, but it doesn't look like I was reading a lot, does it?
I'll miss those Portland nights when the world feels like it's swaying. I'll miss the chill of your skin when you hold me like you hope that I'm
I have a little bit of an update. It's not even a comprehensive update because, to be honest, I can't really talk about what's happening in the story without spoiling it, and I can't really be like, oh, this is like what happened when, because it's not fantasy. I feel like in fantasy there's just like a lot going on, so it's very easy to like talk about events without like spoiling stuff. But this is, you know, it's very coastal and like laid back, not just in its setting but in its writing and in like the events that are going on. So it's kind of difficult to, I don't know, I feel like it's difficult to make sense of stuff. But let me try and give an update. Let me try and give a decent kind of like, this is what's going on, this is how I'm feeling. So basically, Anna's dad has like flown in and he's also like hanging around, I can never even remember where they are. In New England, this small town in New England. Rockport, yes. So there's like something going on between her parents, I think now. Like, there were hints of it earlier on in the book, and I thought I was imagining it. Obviously, you're never really imagining stuff. The author puts things there for you to pick up on. So there's like this kind of tension between the parents, and I'm so like, the romance that I am here for is her parents. Can I be honest? I want to see how it began, how things unraveled. Like, they're just such interesting people. Some like not magical related things. I don't want to say this is like magical realism. There are some fantastical elements to this book that I wasn't expecting. I think maybe I'm just like jumping to conclusions because I'm looking for an explanation, but I don't think so. But yeah, that's like my little update. The next time you will hear from me is when this book is done. I promise you.
Y'all, I finished sometime in summer, and honestly, this is the kind of book that I would like to crawl into and just live there. I don't know, there's something about it. Every so often I read a book and there's just something about it that feels so palpable, I guess. But I think I needed this one, and I'm happy I got to read it. I gave it 5 stars, by the way. I feel like I've talked about it enough. I can't really talk about the plot without spoiling stuff, so all I can say is pick it up and read it.